Imagine opening your eyes 250 to million years ago. The world you see is not the Earth you know. There are no forests stretching endlessly across the land, no birds flying above the trees, no dinosaurs walking across the plains. The planet is dying. The air is filled with volcanic ash. The oceans are becoming lifeless. The climate is changing faster than most creatures can survive. This was the greatest catastrophe in Earth's history, a disaster so powerful that nearly all life disappeared. But among the ruins of this broken world, one small creature was about to inherit the Earth. It was not the biggest, it was not the strongest, it was not the fastest predator. It was a strange, barrel-bodied animal with a small head and 2 large teeth, a creature that looked almost ordinary. But ordinary creatures do not survive the end of the world. This one did. Its name was Lystrosaurus. 250 to million years ago, Earth was entering the final days of the Permian period. The planet was almost unrecognizable. Nearly all continents were connected into one enormous supercontinent called Pangaea, a vast landmass stretching from pole to pole. At first glance, this ancient world was full of life. Forests covered the landscape, huge reptiles dominated the land, ancient amphibians hunted near rivers. Strange creatures that would never exist again filled every ecosystem. For more than 200 million years, life had been evolving and expanding. But deep beneath the surface, the planet was changing. In what is now Siberia, one of the largest volcanic events in Earth's history began. Massive eruptions released enormous amounts of carbon dioxide and toxic gases into the atmosphere. The consequences were devastating. Temperatures rose, the oceans became acidic. Oxygen levels dropped, food chains collapsed from the bottom up. The disaster lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. And when it finally ended, the Earth was almost empty. The oceans suffered the greatest loss, ancient reefs disappeared. Countless marine species vanished forever. The seas that once supported incredible diversity became silent. On land, the situation was equally catastrophic. Many large predators disappeared, herbivores lost their food sources, entire ecosystems collapsed. Life was not simply struggling, life was being erased. Scientists estimate that around 90% of marine species and a majority of terrestrial species were wiped out. This was not just another extinction. This was the closest Earth ever came to losing its complex life, a world after the apocalypse. And in this devastated landscape, a survivor appeared. A Lystrosaurus walks across the ash-covered ground. It is not an impressive animal. About the size of a modern pig, it has a short body, powerful legs, and a strangely shaped head. Its jaws are not filled with sharp predator teeth. Instead, it has a beak-like mouth and 2 enlarged canine teeth. To many creatures living before the extinction, Lystrosaurus would have seemed insignificant. But the world had changed, strength was no longer the key to survival. The rules had been rewritten, the new Earth did not reward the largest animals. It rewarded the most adaptable. And Lystrosaurus had exactly what this harsh new world required. Unlike many extinct creatures, Lystrosaurus was built for survival. Its body was compact and efficient, it did not require enormous amounts of food. In a world where plants were becoming scarce, this was a huge advantage. It could feed on tough vegetation that other animals struggled to consume. Its strong limbs allowed it to move across damaged landscapes. Some scientists believe it may have been capable of digging, allowing it to escape extreme conditions and find hidden food sources underground. It did not need perfect conditions. It did not need a rich ecosystem. It simply needed enough to continue living. And after the apocalypse, that was everything. As the years passed, something extraordinary happened. While countless species disappeared forever, Lystrosaurus began to spread. Across the empty landscapes of the early Triassic world, its population exploded. From Antarctica to Africa, from India to China, from Russia to South America. Few land animals achieved such a wide distribution. The animal that once seemed insignificant had become one of the most successful survivors in Earth's history. The planet had been reset, and Lystrosaurus was one of the first creatures to take advantage of the new world. Imagine standing on this strange Earth millions of years before dinosaurs became rulers. The forests are different, the climate is unstable. The animals around you are unfamiliar, the giants of the previous age are gone. No enormous predators dominate the land, no ancient ecosystem controls every corner of the planet. Instead, small groups of Lystrosaurus move across the landscape. Hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions. For a brief moment in Earth's history, the world belonged to them. But why did this creature succeed when so many others failed? The answer is one of evolution's greatest lessons. Survival is not about being perfect, it is about being prepared for change. Before the extinction, Lystrosaurus was just another animal among many. It was not the ruler of the Permian world, it was not a legendary predator. It was simply one species trying to survive. But when the environment transformed completely, the traits that once seemed ordinary became incredibly valuable. A simple body, a flexible diet, a resilient lifestyle. Characteristics that seemed unremarkable became the foundation of survival. The apocalypse did not create the strongest creature. It created an opportunity for the most adaptable one. But even the greatest survivors cannot escape time. The world continued changing, new ecosystems formed, new competitors appeared. During the Triassic period, reptiles began diversifying rapidly. Among them were creatures that would eventually give rise to the dinosaurs. The planet that once belonged to Lystrosaurus was slowly being transformed again. The age of new giants was beginning. And the strange little survivor that inherited Earth after the apocalypse eventually disappeared. Its reign lasted only a fraction of Earth's history, but its story remained. Millions of years later, humans uncovered its fossils buried in ancient rocks. At first, these bones revealed a strange animal unlike anything alive today. A creature from a forgotten world, a survivor of the greatest disaster the planet had ever experienced. Its fossils tell us something profound. Life does not always win through power. Sometimes life survives through patience, through adaptation, through the ability to endure when everything around it changes. The story of Lystrosaurus is not a story about a monster. It is not a story about the strongest hunter. It is a story about survival itself. A small creature walking through a dying world. A world where almost everything it knew had vanished. Yet it continued, it adapted, it survived. And for a brief moment in Earth's ancient history, it inherited the planet. Today, we look at our world and imagine it will always remain the same. The oceans, the forests, the continents, the creatures around us. But Earth's history tells a different story. Everything changes. Every dominant species eventually disappears. Every ecosystem eventually transforms. The world never belongs permanently to anyone. Long before humans existed, countless creatures rose and vanished. Some were enormous, some were terrifying, some were almost forgotten. But each one left a mark on the story of life. Lystrosaurus was one of them, a small survivor from the edge of extinction. A creature that walked through the ashes of a dying planet. And proved that even after the greatest apocalypse, life finds a way. This is before us. We journey beyond human history to uncover the forgotten worlds that existed before us.